Live from a NASCAR bunker in Kyle's parents' basement, it's Turn the Radio Off with Mike Parsons and Kyle Bauer.
Become a fan at Facebook.com/TTRO Show. Follow along on Twitter.com/TTRO Show. Or just listen right now. It's Turn the Radio Off.
Whoa, you okay there, Kyle?
No. It's like everyone else, I'm getting sick.
Man, long time no see. How long has it been since we've done one of these together?
I think since the Ebola virus was the thing. That may be what I have right now.
Yeah, back in 2014 is the last time we did one of these together.
Feels like it.
Well, it's good to see you.
Yeah, no, good to see you too.
It's funny. It's funny how life changes, doesn't it? Once upon a time, if we were to miss a long string of shows together, it would normally be your fault. Normally, you're like, oh, there's some chick I forgot I was banging today, or I lost track of time, and I get salty with you for a while, and then time would pass and we'd get back on the horse. Well, this time, Kyle, the tables have turned, and I have been the one who's been flaking the last four weeks. So I guess we're even.
Yeah, I suppose so. And which, I mean, it's good. It's good that we're back on the same page doing the show again leading up to the election, which is roughly a month away.
Oh, thank God.
I know. I mean, maybe. I mean, I think at this point there's no way.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
we have to worry about Trump winning at this point.
Well, I don't know. And we'll talk about that a little later on. But I don't know. We'll see what happens in the vice presidential debate, even though once people hear this, it'll be over. But much like every other vice presidential debate, it will come and go. And the only reason people will know it's on is because it's preempting the last hour of The Voice.
Yeah, and I have found myself not at all interested in what Tim Kaine has to say.
No.
Or Mike Pence.
No.
They are very vanilla vice president picks.
Yeah. Well, Trump supporters love themselves some vanilla. That's actually a selling point.
That's why it works.
Right.
Yeah. Although pointing out all of Mike Pence's, I mean, not that Tim Kaine is without controversy. Of course, he got busted taking a bunch of illegal donations from a lobbyist and using them for campaign trips and stuff, and that was kind of a big scandal that I think will maybe come to the surface a little bit tonight.
Yeah.
But Mike Pence, I mean, he's
and tomorrow morning no one will be talking about it.
but tonight, I mean, Mike Pence could be hammered on a million different things.
Right.
He's been an awful governor for Indiana.
And he can show up hammered and nobody will care because nobody cares about the vice presidential debates.
No. Although I'm trying to make it sound like I care a little bit. Yeah. I really don't.
Actually, I'm going to catch up on whatever is on my DVR because there will be absolutely nothing else on TV because this debate that nobody cares about watching is going to be on every single network. You know why I think Mike Pence was picked as Trump's vice presidential candidate?
Because he has a haircut you can set your watch to?
Right, because they were looking for the most Caucasian man with the most Caucasian hair. Everything about him is white.
And incredibly rigid.
Rigid and white, and that's what the beta males voting Trump are into.
Well, I think what you're going to hear a lot as far as a response from this vice presidential debate is that the Republicans really want to see people look at Mike Pence and say, "Oh, well, he's the one who will really be running the country."
Right. Trump's just the he's Johnny Bravo in the suit, so to speak.
Yeah, he's the one who will really be running the country. You need to listen to what Mike Pence says on policy. You need to listen to how presidential Mike Pence is and how statesman and what a statesman he is. That's what you're going to be hearing coming out of this tomorrow. And yeah, they'll have a point, but ultimately he's not the one making the executive decisions, right?
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
So
it'll be Mike Pence. So Mike Pence. All women will be forced to ask their husband's permission before they cut their hair. Pants
will also be outlawed for women.
Oh yeah, definitely not. If you want to divorce a woman, you just have to say "I divorced thee" 3 times, and it's official. And
then you splash holy water on her, and she disintegrates.
Right. Put an A or a, D, a scarlet D for divorced on her. And also, you can get back your 7-goat dowry from her father. And if he doesn't repay it in the event of a divorce, then he will be drawn and quartered.
Yeah, and then he has to give you the community key to the chastity belt.
Right, exactly. That's right, because every woman will be forced to take the silver ring thing pledge. Remember that? The Joe Bros made
No, I don't.
Back in
the Jonas Brothers?
Yeah, back in like the early 2000s, they were trying to make someone was trying to make virginity cool.
A couple of them have really stuck to that, at least in public.
No, well, one of them married the first girl he wanted to have sex with, because he wanted to have sex with her, and the other 2 have reinvented themselves as sexy R&B singers. So,
really?
Could you
Maybe
imagine,
I got it backwards.
Could you imagine being the one sucker Jonas brother who stuck true to the silver ring thing because he wanted to get it in, and now he's watching his 2 brothers singing sexy songs, getting laid. He's like, "What the hell, guys?" I
thought 2 of them remain pure.
No, well,
as they say.
No, 2 of them. One is the one who's shirtless with the giant nipples, and then the other one sings a song about cake by the ocean, which I believe is slang for butts at the beach.
There's not enough large-nippled men.
No.
There's really not.
No, large-nippled men need to come out of the shadows.
I mean, I'm sure they exist, but you just don't see them too often.
I mean, my nipples are perfect, so I can't be the spokesperson, but someone out there.
Yeah, my nipples are a little large.
Yeah.
They're a little larger. But, I mean, they're not, like, huge. Like, I mean, you'll see some girls.
Yeah.
And, you know, of course, I love them all.
Sure.
But they just have gigantic nipples.
Yeah. Well, that's because...
And that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you don't see that in men.
You're going to want to stick around at the 45-minute mark, because Kyle and I will be doing the last segment shirtless, describing each other's nipples.
I wonder if that's just strictly just a breast tissue thing. Is that what it does? It stretches out the areolas?
That would be my guess. I'm no breastologist, but that would be my guess. That as they grow, so do the areolas.
I'm just curious, is all.
You know, I love picky dudes who are like, "Oh, I hate big areolas." Oh, okay, yeah. Like you're in a position to turn that down, okay? like you're gonna be getting that far. Like, nope, deal breaker.
Right, just shut it down right there.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, I will only have sex with the 0.5% of women who have abnormally small nipples.
Yeah, right. Which you don't want them to be too small. Then I feel like it's creepy.
Yeah, like you don't want them to look like those little pepperonis that cup up on frozen pizzas. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, the grease holders.
Yeah, we're gross. Now I know why we didn't do the show together for a month. We're awful.
I actually like this new direction that we're taking the show in, where we devote it to nipple talk.
That's true. Welcome to Nipple Chat with Mike and Kyle.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. That's all I'm asking. Why aren't there more guys out there with large nipples? I've only seen one man with large nipples.
Yeah, who's that? Your old Grandpappy Bauer at the swimming pool.
No.
Are you talking about someone we know?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about. I thought you were talking about a celebrity who'd be a potential champion.
I'm totally dropping an inside joke here, but I mean it's
so inside. It must be inside with someone else, because I don't know.
You've never seen them before.
Oh, wow!
I've had the pleasure.
Wow.
Of being at the swimming pool with them.
Wow. You and I've gone to a swimming pool together. It can't be me.
No,
Yeah.
no, this it's.
When you first saw my nipples at the swimming pool, what'd you think?
I can't remember
Yeah.
them. I don't even know what they look like anymore.
For some reason, I can't remember yours either. I think maybe there might have been some hair around. You seem like a hair around the areolas type guy.
Yeah. I got a lot of chest hair.
Okay.
Yeah. And the thick
You
of
do
it
say
forms
so
a
for-
perfect triangle.
Right. You know what?
It's like the thing you got to collect in Zelda.
Yeah. You know, as I get older,
Du-du-du-du.
as I get older, and my nose hair gets longer. As my nose hairs get longer, and I still have no chest hair, I'm more and more upset that I don't have a giant tuft of chest hair that I can just rest a medallion in.
You see, it goes both ways, though. Like, there's some times where you're wearing a T-shirt,
Yeah.
and like, you can clearly see
Yeah.
the chest hair through the T-shirt.
Yeah.
And that's when it gets annoying.
Right.
Like, actually, with the shirt I'm wearing now,
Yeah. Woo.
you can
it's
see that forms a bed right here.
You're right. I got a weed whacker in the garage if you need some help with that.
So to let the audience know at home, Paul,
Right. This is theater of the mind.
I'm right now. I've unzipped my jacket.
Yeah.
And I'm rubbing my chest, and now this is a great T-shirt I got from Kohl's Cash, the Sonoma Weekend Tee. Okay, I'm just saying though, it doesn't do a good job of concealing my chest hair.
Well, as a man with a luxurious tuft of chest
right
hair,
now I'm doing a semicircle around my chest hair.
I'm actually offended that you don't wear more gold medallions and V-neck shirts.
I used to.
Yeah.
Like, here's what I would do. Okay, I used to wear a lot of V-necks back
Okay.
when maybe I had a little bit more of a trim figure, and I always thought that was good. You know, show off the chest hair a little bit. It shows off virility.
Sure. Right.
And
it sends a biological signal that you're fertile and ready to mate.
if you want
spread your
to
seed.
pass a giant clump of fur
Yeah.
through your vagina,
Right. If you want to have
I'm the one you want to mate with.
if you want offspring with the trait of one day having chest hair, then you're the one to mate with.
Yeah, and I used to do that, and actually in hockey, kind of is like a tribute to all my favorite European hockey players. I used to wear a gold chain,
Yeah.
until one day I hooked up with some girl, and I woke up the next morning, she was gone, and it was gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. She took your heart and your giant gold Jesus cross.
Yeah, and also $60.
Wow. Is that how much the chain was worth, or was it in addition to the
In
gold chain?
addition.
Wow.
I didn't. You know what though? I just let it go because I was too embarrassed to tell anyone for years.
Until
this is
now.
actually the first time I've admitted it.
Until
but yes, I hooked up with a girl on the internet at my loft in Detroit. And she was a real piece of hipster trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she
a
stole
klepto.
she stole money from me, likely to sell for cocaine.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
Right.
Because it means ultimately I gave her the good time that she deserved.
Right. Well, and you know what? If you knew at the time you were paying a woman $60 for sex, you'd probably feel guilty about it.
Well, I mean, I didn't know that there was going to be a fee involved.
Yeah. Right, because if you paid her, it would have been prostitution. But if she stole it,
I should have just said up front, like, what, do you need some money?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she would have taken it, and it
Want
would
me
have
to
been
call
a
you an
fair
Uber?
deal. I would, although I love that gold chain, and I'm really sad that I was a better hockey player when I wore that gold chain, and
Right.
that was a fact. That
prob-
gold chain
she probably was
gave me powers.
She probably was a hot wife of somebody on the other on one of your rival teams.
And she wasn't that hot.
Yeah. No, I mean, a hot wife is a slang for a wife that is part of the swinging lifestyle.
Oh.
Yeah. So in conclusion, I believe that Tim Kaine wins the debate on substance, but Mike Pence scores style points. Let's turn the radio
He
off
has
on
less ear hair.
the internet.
Less rock, more talk. Turn the radio off.
Become a fan at peoplehatemypodcast.com.
Attention! Your gym teacher escaped from charm school, irons his underwear, watches hygiene films. He says, anyone chewing bubble tape owes me 50 push-ups. The lunch lady wears a hairnet, serves mashed potatoes with an ice cream scoop, puts gravy on everything. She says,
Bubble tape is not part of a well-balanced diet.
bubble tape, it's 6 feet of bubble gum for you, not them.
So let me repeat your order here. That'll be 1 double cheeseburger, ching. Large fries and a large soda, ching. 2 kids meals and 2 medium sodas, ching. 1 chicken sandwich, large fries, and a vanilla milkshake. Bada bing. That'll be $62.75. We're a little shy.
Remember when you could feed your whole family fast food for less than $10? Well, at Rally's, you still can. Rally's has it right.
Switch off the radio. Turn off the radio. Shut down your radio system.
We'll do it live!
What?
I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Turn the radio off. There you go. I'm drunk.
Just one final point on the just futility of vice presidential debates. The sickest burn in any VP debate didn't even win the ticket, the election. It was back in 1998. A guy named Dennis Eckhart against Dan Quayle, and Dan Quayle was talking about, or he was comparing himself to one of the Kennedys, Jack Kennedy, and Dennis Eckhart said, "I know Jack Kennedy, and you, sir, are no Jack Kennedy." That's gone down as the sickest burn in all VP debates, and George or Bush H.W. went on to beat him and Michael Dukakis in the election. So just more of an illustration of how pointless these vice presidential debates are.
Although the conservatives just had a pretty big slip up. This coming across Twitter right now.
What happened?
They already posted who won the presidential debate.
Yeah, the vice presidential debate?
Yeah, the vice presidential debate,
yeah.
And a rundown of all of Pence's talking points.
Oops. Oops. Wow. Some intern's going to be so fired. I can just see, because, you know, I can see the Republicans being a bunch of old people that don't understand the internet, so they hire someone's nephew to be their social media coordinator.
Yeah, I just love this.
And he probably tried to schedule a post in Hootsuite, and he hit the wrong button, because, you know, unless you really blow it like Barack Obama did that first debate against Mitt Romney in 2012, or like Donald Trump did this first debate of this year, you can say, you know, anyone can spin it to make it look like they won, as long as you just keep it close. So I bet you both campaigns probably have a press release talking about how they won, and like I said, either an old person or someone's stupid nephew they hired as their social media manager probably went to go schedule this post, and instead of hitting schedule, they probably hit post.
I love it because this party has just completely come apart at the seams.
You know what, though?
And sadly, though, because the Democrats also do not have their shit together, they've stayed within a puncher's chance.
Yeah.
Which is incredible when you think about everything that's gone on, from Trump being nominated to everything inflammatory Trump has said and them gutlessly having to back it up. To even little gaffes like this. I mean, you could just tell they're just so disoriented.
Well,
and I think it comes off of how, I mean, of course, he hasn't appeased everyone. I mean, even me, but Barack Obama's presidency. He's going to close out his presidency as one of the most popular presidents of all time by approval rating. You know, the Democrats had a dominant convention.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think to all this, and I think that it's just really the Republicans are as vulnerable as ever, and it's sad that the Democrats rigged an election to have Hillary Clinton, not that good of a nominee,
right,
take on this mantle, because you could just step on their necks so easily with a more viable candidate.
Well, I was making this point when I was bumbling through the show solo last week just to get a show out to the affiliates. That last week's debate had record number viewership for the two least popular candidates in history, or at least in recent generations. What does that say about us?
It says we're a very self-deprecating culture. We like pain.
And the thing is with Donald Trump, I mean, all this stuff can come out about how much money he lost in '95 and how many years he's skipped paying his taxes. But it doesn't matter to people who are voting for him because he validates something in them that is so visceral, I guess.
Yeah.
That he makes for the longest time, a lot of his supporters, their viewpoints have been looked down upon because they're wrong. And here comes this guy who's saying, hey, it's okay to be xenophobic. Hey, it's okay to be afraid of people who don't look like you. Hey, us rich white people, we're oppressed. We're oppressed. And so he hits on that, and no matter what comes out after that, it's not going to do anything. Except maybe his comments on people with PTSD not being able to handle it. I think that
was overblown.
It really was, because it's funny because honestly, when he said it, when you listen to it, he actually sounded kind of sympathetic.
He did, and if you actually look at the full transcript of the speech, it was a small, poorly worded snippet,
right, and
out of a larger, very long-winded point he was making. He was pulling a Bauer.
Right, and it's funny because, that might be the thing that undoes his presidency. All the terrible crap that he said, that might be the thing that throws it off track.
Something that, frankly, I still think was taken out of context.
Yeah.
Again, if you read the full quote, I just think he's not a very good speaker.
Right.
I mean, I think it's obvious he's a terrible speaker, and I think he was in the middle of some word diarrhea, and he jumbled together some words and some sentences that weren't very cohesive or intelligible, and it came out into this quote that sounded a lot worse than it actually was.
Yeah. Well, and if you listen to it, too, he's, like I said, he's saying it kind of in a gentle, sort of sympathetic tone.
It wasn't like with John McCain, when he made the John McCain statements, where he was very verbose, and he was just like, oh, well, I like guys who don't get captured.
Right. Well,
Right.
And that being taken out of context probably is two-pronged. Number one, it's an election season, and people are going to use whatever ammo they can. And number two, I bet you that initial that initial comment, which I thought that was the end of his candidacy right there. That initial comment about John McCain probably painted those comments in a different light than if he just said them in a vacuum.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, it's funny because it's missing context, yet there's a whole bunch of subtext.
Right.
That, that I think kind of builds up to a reporter kind of taking a snippet of that and running with it and using it to trash him, which is it's kind of what has happened. But I still think, the incredible thing about this, and kind of the disheartening thing about this, just from a very personal standpoint, is that I think I've made the point several times on this show in this 1.5-year long election cycle that we've been in.
God.
I know.
Seems like it's been... This election season seems like it started after the hanging chads in Florida back in 2000.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, though, what? We're thinking of, like, June 2015?
Well, I think...
Like, roughly?
I think on this... I think... I was looking at my On This Day in History, and I think it was August or July where I was Facebooking about the first debate.
The first debate was in August. I remember that.
With 27 Republican candidates or what, back when it was... Yeah.
And, but the point I've made throughout this is that selfishly, narrowing down the perspective, I miss Donald Trump the entertainer. I miss Donald Trump the entrepreneur. I miss Donald Trump as just kind of like this really gaudy character.
Right, this verbose but likable kind of doofus who's smart enough to make $1 billion.
Right, exactly. And you liked how, you kind of liked how flashy and how arrogant he was.
Right.
He was like appropriately enough, because he was a part of the WWE for a little bit.
Right.
He's like a WWE character.
Right.
He was. And he was a heel, but he was a heel that you liked. And then I went into the start of this election cycle thinking, why is Trump saying all this stuff? He doesn't really believe this stuff.
Right, exactly.
He doesn't. There's no way he actually believes this.
Right, he's been a Democrat his whole life.
Right, it contradicts so many things that he said in the past on record, and just, going back to his New Reform Party days. I mean, he doesn't really actually believe any of this. He keeps contradicting him. Why is he doing this? And then you see all the hate build up around him, and you see white supremacists latch onto him, and the Pepe the Frog crowd, and, Well,
I still have that theory. One of my theories on Trump is that he was either screwing around when he first started doing this, or he got involved to destroy the Republican Party, and he's just as horrified with how well he's doing as the rest of us are.
Which is possible. I mean, who knows what the guy's thinking? He's clearly off the rails.
Yeah.
Just in general. But I guess my whole point is that I don't know if I longer believe that he is trying to take down the party from the inside,
right,
or he is just running this election to get more. Well, I guess I could still believe he's running the election to get more fame, but I guess all in all, what I'm saying is all this the stuff about Alyssa Machado or Allison Machado.
The
forgetting
beauty
her
queen,
first name.
the beauty queen. He called Miss Piggy or whatever.
Yes, that stuff.
Yeah,
and then the rape allegations.
Yeah,
and then the lawsuit about discriminatory housing. All of this stuff comes out throughout this election cycle that you really didn't know about him. And now I'm left thinking, like, maybe this guy that I liked all these years before he became this dangerous presidential candidate, maybe this is who he really was, and we were seeing a much brighter veneer, and now the truth about him has come out, and it's sad and gross and weird, and I feel skeezy about it because, again, I liked him.
Right, as a part of pop culture.
Yes, I enjoyed him.
Well, it's probably the same feeling you felt when all this Cosby stuff came out.
Yeah.
You and I both loved Cosby.
Oh, huge fans.
I forgot it. You know what? I loved him so much I forgot about the original allegations in 2006. But
same here.
I think one thing we learn is that the more we find out about people we're fans of, the less we know about them, the better.
Yeah, and it's funny because there are some people who will defend their idols or the people who they're entertained by, whether they be athlete or musician or whatever. They'll defend them under any circumstance, under any case. But never before has it been attached to a literal political movement, and that's kind of like the fuel in all this fire that makes it a little extra scary. I'm just saying, though, personally, from my standpoint, I'm just really disappointed.
Well, I feel this whole election season, I feel like we're learning a lot, but I won't know exactly what we're learning until Election Day. You know what I'm saying? Like if Donald Trump wins, I feel like we've learned a whole lot of certain things from this column, and if Hillary Clinton wins, I feel like we've learned, and I feel like I feel like we're getting an education. We just won't know what the education's in until graduation day, so to speak.
And I still think that there is a possibility, and boy, would this be interesting to see it put back in the Democrats' face, looking back 16 years ago, that Trump could win the popular vote and Hillary could win the Electoral College.
Right.
And especially with how the polls are going in Michigan and Pennsylvania right now, where Hillary is really starting to open up a big lead, at least according to the polls, which have been misleading before. But at least
the polls had Hillary Clinton winning Michigan in the primary. The polls had
by a lot too.
Yeah, the polls had John Kerry killing George W. in 2004. So, but yeah, I mean, the polls are all we have to go on, but you take it with a huge grain of salt.
Yeah, but I think you could definitely see Trump win the popular vote and then Hillary win the Electoral College.
Yep.
And I almost feel like that would be as big of a shitstorm as if he just won the election.
Right.
Like, of course, ultimately Hillary would have the power and it would die down. With Trump, you have at least 4 years and all the repercussions that you're stuck with. But still, can you imagine all the bitching and the protesting and the demonstrations, and can you just imagine just the mess that it would cause
and you know
if
what?
Trump won the popular vote and Hillary won the Electoral College?
And you know what? They wouldn't necessarily be out of bounds on that. I mean, people have tried to explain to me why the Electoral College is still relevant. And they still can't make. I mean, they say, well, certain states, Well, okay, but. I mean,
it's supposed to,
no matter what state you're from, one vote is one vote.
Right. It's supposed to align with how our Congress works.
Right, but I mean, you can
with
still
representation.
Right, you can still be represented by the amount of by the amount of your people, by your population when it comes to representatives in the House, but.
Oh, yeah, at face value, I can't. At face value, yeah, it probably should be a popular vote.
Right. I mean, yeah, I mean, and Kyle, you can you can explain it to me all you want, but it still doesn't make sense to me, you know. But real quick before we go, I do feel, I think maybe I may have a double standard when it comes to a lot of the backlash that Gary Johnson's been getting about not knowing what Aleppo was, and not being able to name one world leader that he admires. And I think maybe I give Gary Johnson a pass on these things because I feel like he's not an actual candidate for the presidency. Like when everyone was pounding Gary Johnson on not knowing what Aleppo was, I have to be honest, I didn't know that was where all the fighting was taking place in Syria. But I'm not running for president. And yes, a president should know these major cities where conflicts are happening. They should know. They should know world leaders of other countries. And so maybe if I felt he actually had a chance in hell to win the presidency, I might be a little harder on him. But I'm not really defending him as a president. I'm just defending him as not being dumb because he's a libertarian. And it kind of makes sense to me that a libertarian wouldn't be able to name all these things because libertarians don't give a shit about what's going on in other countries because they're libertarians. And they're libertarians because they don't give a shit. So, I don't think Gary Johnson's stupid because obviously he was a very successful governor. But, I mean, pretty much those, I think those, obviously, those didn't harpoon his chances of being president because he never had a chance to begin with. But I think it harpooned his chance of getting that 15% to be on the stage during debates.
Which he wasn't too far away. I mean, I think at one point he was pulling at 10%. He's got the Chicago Tribune and the Detroit News, among others, endorsing him. So, I mean, he's gotten a lot of visibility. And he's gotten his opportunity to prove himself to get to the debate stage. And I would think take away votes from Trump, although, I mean, I've heard one thing about Hillary supporters that still to this day annoys the hell out of me is how grossly insecure they are. Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably deep down because they know what's in front of them. They know that they've barely been able to put Trump out of, they haven't been able to put Trump out of his misery.
Right.
They're probably going to barely beat him.
Right.
And I think it's created a lot of insecurity. And one of the insecurities, I think, is this misnomer that there's this large majority of Bernie Sanders supporters are now supporting Gary Johnson.
Right.
It's not true at all. One, that would have translated into him only polling at 10%.
Right.
And two, I mean, I do know one person who was a Bernie supporter is now a Gary Johnson supporter. He's kind of a nut job to begin with.
Well, and those people are the anyone but Hillary or Trump people.
Right,
so
yeah.
They saw Bernie Sanders as a viable third candidate who's not them, and now Gary Johnson is the most famous candidate who's not Hillary or Trump.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know... I don't really know this wave of Bernie Sanders supporters who are now supporting Gary Johnson, and I don't think that was ever true. And it's just one of the things that's most exhausting of this is, yeah, Trump's supporters are scary, but Hillary's supporters are annoying.
Yeah, right. It's one of these things where you wish they could both lose, and that's probably why Gary Johnson got a little groundswell of support until he kind of showed that, look, seems like a nice guy, but
I was definitely considering voting for him. For a little bit, but it was very brief. And once I really kind of just put my practical hat on, I decided I couldn't do it. I had to go against Trump's direct competition.
Mm-hmm.
Had to. In principle, I don't want to see either of them be president either.
No.
But the point is we don't have a choice.
Well, and here's the thing. Here's the thing.
I mean, you can vote for Johnson if you want. I'm just saying, practically speaking, we don't have a choice.
Well, and here's the thing. If you're that bothered by Gary Johnson's lack of foreign policy knowledge, that would indicate to me that foreign policy is very important to you. And out of the candidates running, the person with the most foreign policy experience, even though Benghazi was a tragedy, and we still don't know how culpable Hillary Clinton was in that, she has the most foreign policy experience. Because, you know what? We don't know if Donald Trump knows what Aleppo is.
No one asked him about that, by the way.
And you know what?
He probably was relieved to see Gary Johnson.
I thought Aleppo was a dog food. I would have looked really stupid on that debate. All right, we got to take a quick break. It's Turn the Radio Off on the Internet.
Turn the radio off with Machine Gun Mike Parsons.
And guess what? Life isn't fair. You don't always get what you want.
And Kyle Avocado Bauer.
Oh, zombie preparedness kit. I'm a zombie. Lols, lols, lols.
We'll be back in seconds. Turn the radio off. With more Turn the Radio Off on the Internet.
What is Jack?
Jack is great stuff. Oozy. Jack is stretchy.
You can pull it. Make Jack sounds.
How rude.
Suck it up and squirt it out with a Gak Vac. Pump it up and blow it up with a Gak Inflator.
Well, I never.
Nickelodeon Gak comes in different colors, sizes, and play sets, each sold separately. Coming soon from Mattel.
Disgusting.
The Fresh Maker.
Turn the radio off. Tell your friends about us. Make them like us on Facebook.
I am not sure if we are broadcasting properly.
Turn the radio off. Online and worldwide. TTROshow.com.
I will call it now. If this next thing becomes a topic in the presidential campaign this year, and it might sound like I'm joking, but I'm actually half serious. If in one of these next debates the topic of this creepy clown epidemic comes up, I'll know that America as a civilization has gone the way of the Romans.
I know. Is like on top of everything else that's going on in this country right now, constant civil unrest.
Yeah.
Police shootings that are being broadcast live on Facebook, just of all the creepy, unsettling things that is going on in this country right now. Now we have to deal with this too.
Well, and I feel kind of bad because I feel like I may have incited an angry mob the other day with a tongue-in-cheek post on Facebook where I said, if I run into one of these creepy clowns, it's going to be them or me. I was saying that as a joke. I actually don't think I would be afraid if I saw one of these creepy clowns because I'm convinced that it's just teenagers trying to get traffic on their social media page, like that clown sighting in that car wash at Moravian and Cass, where I used to take girls in high school because I lived with my parents. Where I used to go take girls to get turned down.
It's by my grandma's old house.
Yeah, that video was so obvious to me, done by the kids taking the video. The acting was terrible. The timing was too convenient. I don't know what started this to begin with. We've been seeing these creepy clown stories pop up back since Olin and I were doing the program at the old flagship. But they seem like they've picked up in intensity recently. And after I posted that, the next day I started seeing people talking about, I will shoot a clown. I do not, like, people are almost hoping that they run into one of these creepy clowns with their sidearm because they're looking to shoot a clown.
I think people are looking to shoot anything these days.
I think you're right. And then there's and I don't know if this Craigslist post is real or not. There's some Craigslist post about people wanting to dress up as Vikings and go clown hunting in the woods or something.
Okay.
It reminds me of, remember after 9/11, you'd see on the back of these pickup trucks right next to the Confederate flag, terrorist hunting license.
Yeah,
that it's weird. It's almost the same thing. Even though I don't think people are as freaked out about these clowns, but some people are, and people get scared. And you know, these people who are dressing up as clowns, whether it's as a publicity stunt to promote the reboot of It, which is a theory that I've been hearing, or my theory of these are just kids who see this as a viral trend, trying to get Instagram likes and tweet space views. They better be careful because people are freaked out and something bad is going to happen to one of them sometime.
Also, in a couple of these cases too, I can't name specific incidents by city or whatever, but I know that I've heard in a couple of cases that these clowns have gone chasing after people.
Yeah.
With like fucking machetes and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yes. Actually, really grounds for assault.
Yeah.
But the problem is that they're in so much makeup.
You can't identify.
Yeah, and I think what someone's going to need to do is next time someone feels genuinely threatened by one of these assholes, is just turn it back on them.
Right.
You know, just call the cops right there.
Yeah.
And say that there's someone in a clown costume harassing me, and that's grounds for them to come over.
Yeah.
I know. And that person's act will die real quick.
Yeah. Well, and I guess there are schools that are canceling classes because threats called in by clowns or social media threats by someone on a clown profile or whatever. I mean, it's getting out of control. And there was a sighting in Troy, Athens, and whoever this clown was, I think they were trying to get school shut down. And Troy, Athens just put a thing out and said, look, there's some asshole walking around dressed as a clown. He's no threat. Get your ass to school, whoever you are. It's probably someone who didn't study for a chemistry test or something the night before.
Yeah, because seriously, it's something to always remember is that this isn't a haunted house. It's the public streets.
Right.
Okay, and even in a haunted house, they're not allowed to touch you.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's something to remember, though, that if you see any of these assholes and they're harassing you or intimidating you, just call the cops.
Yeah.
The cops got to come out and check out the situation, at least.
Right.
You know, especially if it's on someone else or if it's on someone's private property, like at this car wash.
Well,
I'm sure the owner of that car wash didn't appreciate it.
I was going to say, if you're the owner of the car wash, I'm pissed. Because you know, now people aren't going to your car wash. You know what would have been great is if you saw one of these clowns at the car wash and you put 3 quarters in and you just started spraying them down. Started spraying them down
with the wax.
Yeah. But you know, this has been like the top story all over the place. And at least in this situation, I said, look, because you click on the video, you watch the video, and the kid's acting is terrible, and then you click on his Twitter profile, and everything is clown-related. I mean, this guy's milking it for... And the thing is, no one does any investigation into this. You know, Mojo, the first link I saw was Mojo in the Morning, which, look, they get a pass because Mojo in the Morning, they're not a bastion of journalism. But click on Detroit, Channel 7, I don't know if Fox 2 did or not. There was if it wasn't the top story, it was on their news and it was being reposted all over the place. And
they knew it'd get hits around this time of year.
Exactly.
It's a creepy story. You know, whether you believe it or not, still, it's creepy to a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, there are a lot of people who are unsettled or puzzled by this. It gathers intrigue. Is it news? No. Is it news if one of these bastards actually goes after somebody, you know, with a weapon? Well, yeah, it is, because then it's assault.
Right.
And then, you know, they can be arrested and, you know, they can go scrub that down in the Macomb County Jail shower.
Yeah. Like, I think originally these started out as, like, whenever there's a slow day on BuzzFeed, it seemed like every few months, all over the place, there'd be a new creepy clown. I remember one of them.
Yeah, here or overseas. You see a lot in Europe. Never in Canada, though.
Right. Because Canadians are polite, and they have better things to do, like drink beer and watch hockey.
Yep. Great country.
And treat each other with respect. They're too busy over there in Canada treating each other with respect to do shit like this. But I remember there was one on Long Island, and like it was so obvious that all it was there was this Long Island comedian who did one of these front seat confessionals, you know, like they're huge all over Facebook, or they're huge all over the internet, where someone will go on some kind of rant in the front seat of their car.
That sounds dumb, but I believe you.
And so he was going on a rant against these clowns and everything, and so this was obviously to promote him. Now, you know, I don't know if this kind of caught on and people saw that this was a way to get it out there, but you know, I think maybe this started as a organized thing, whether it's promoting something, but now I just think that people want in on the joke. And, you know, they think it's funny to put clown costumes on and scare people, because when you're scaring people, it's kind of powerful, right? You kind of have this
for
power.
Sure.
You know, you probably get a rush out of it. Like you're watching Nightmare on Elm Street, and Freddy's scary, and Freddy's very powerful because he's very scary to a lot of people. You kind of want to feel that rush. But yeah, I mean, unless one of these guys were coming at me with a machete, I wouldn't be afraid. I wouldn't go Ronnie and the Sitch on him and, you know, come at me, bro. But I'd be like, yeah, do your parents know you're out here? Did you pay? Did you pay for that at Spirit Halloween, or did you shoplift it?
Oh yeah, because those costumes get expensive.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If I'm Spirit Halloween or Party City, I am jacking up the prices of clown costumes. I am just riding this wave all the way to the bank.
Yeah, I like that mentality. Increased demand, you know, supply and demand right there.
You know who would like that?
Who?
Ronald Reagan.
He would.
Speaking of election season, Ronald Reagan, that free market, baby. I'm going to rip these Weisenheimers off for everything that they have. It's Turn the Radio Off on the internet.
Turn the radio off with Mike Parsons.
No drug dealers living next to me. Pretty good deal.
Kyle Bauer.
Yeah.
People hate my podcast.com.
License and registration.
But I'm walking.
Do you want to upset an officer of the law?
No, sir.
Good. I pulled you over today for littering.
I didn't litter.
Wow. That's what they all say. Unfortunately, I saw you drop a pair of thunder thighs a few blocks back. Probably happened as you were biting into that apple you're holding.
How'd you know they're my thunder thighs?
Well, my young friend, I'd like to say 2 years, and the police academy helped figure it out. But between us, it was smallstep.gov.
Smallstep.gov?
Yep, Rooney. It's this site with tons of easy ways to lose weight. Some steps are so easy, people don't realize they're doing them. Like you taking small step number 83, snack on fruits. Go to smallstep.gov, you'll see. You can drive off now.
I'm still walking.
Take a small step to get healthy at smallstep.gov. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
They talk to a microphone because they're no good at talking to women.
You, me, bar, beers, buzzed, wings, shots, drunk, waitresses hot, football, Cornell Hofstra, slaughter, then quick nap at my place and we hit the tears down.
Turn the radio off.
All right, well, we were talking about this Halloween intrigue that seems to be spilling over into the real world with all these creepy clown sightings last segment, and how I don't buy it. It just seems like a bunch of teenage Weisenheimer malarkey to me. But here is something, Kyle, which I didn't even see this going around until Snopes debunked it as true, which I guess is not confirmed it as true. And let's see, last week on the 29th of September, a New Jersey transit train crashed in Hoboken, New Jersey, killing one person and injuring a bunch of other people. And the story started circulating that the night before, a TV station in upstate New York, WKTV, which that sounds like a made-up TV network, but I guess it's not. Twice, once during the 6 o'clock news and once during the 10:30 news, one of these EAS alerts, this is a test of the emergency alert system. It goes boop boop boop, and then it kills the audio, and then the message scrolls across. This is only a test. Well, one of these went out. And it says, civil authorities have issued a hazardous material warning for the United States, effective until September 29th at 2:16 a.m. And then it says, could you, on a train, wait for further instructions the night before in upstate New York.
Whoa.
And this actually happened because, like I said, it was on Snopes, and to me, Snopes is my Bible. That's like the last bastion of truth to me. If Snopes ever lied to me, I wouldn't trust anything. So this happened twice, and the TV station tweeted out twice that they don't know how this happened. They don't know.
Hacked.
They don't know where it came from. And then the next day was that terrible train crash in Hoboken, New Jersey. Which is far away, but still, it's neighboring states.
Yeah, that is bizarre, and you don't hear too many stories. It was a big thing, like back in the 80s, that you could pirate a lot of feeds just because the technology was so primitive.
Right.
There was the person in the Max Headroom.
That nobody still has been able to find out where that came from.
And then there was Captain Midnight, who was outraged by increasing cable prices.
Oh, I don't think I saw that one.
Look up Captain Midnight. You'd really appreciate him. Yes, he was, I guess he was super upset about high cable prices or increasing cable prices.
Is that a distant cousin as the rent is too damn high guy?
Well, this guy was in Florida, I believe, and the FCC did catch him. I think he turned himself in, and I think he even got jail time.
Wow.
I know he got a huge fine.
Wow. Yeah, it's a 7-minute video, so I'll watch it on my own time.
But the point is that stuff like this has happened before, but not in a long, long time.
Well,
like 30 years.
And that was something that seems to be somewhat prophetic.
Right, the fact that it was on a train, but here's the one reassuring thing: is we know that there was no hazardous materials on the train.
Right, which I mean, I'm not a big believer in conspiracies. I'm a big believer in coincidences. Like when people say there's no such thing as coincidence, I think that's crap. I think most things are coincidences, and I believe this is a coincidence, but. It's a very odd coincidence.
Wonder if this person was wearing a clown costume when they hacked this TV
maybe it was.
station.
And then they went into is it a cockpit on a train? Wherever the engineer of the train was sitting, scared him away and crashed the train.
Oh, God. I don't even want to think. Because they still haven't released any, findings from the investigation on that, which is a little bizarre.
Yeah, I think
you'd figure there'd be a quicker turnaround.
I think I read, just making sure I had my facts straight on this, that they did obtain the 2 black boxes, I think, today. But the NTSB, what is that? The National Transportation Safety Board recovers a second black box and an operator's cell phone. Maybe they have. I mean, a train crash doesn't seem to get the same coverage as a plane crash. So maybe we're not paying that close of attention. And I got to say, I wasn't even really paying attention to it much, except for this story itself, because I mean, hey.
Was the conductor the one who died, or the engineer, or whatever the hell you?
Let's see here. Let me look at my Wikipedia real quick. Death. Let's see.
Because I would figure that
it just
there would be some, like I said, like there would be at least someone would be in investigation already.
Yeah, the accident caused 1 death and injured at least 114 other people. I don't believe it was the engineer, because I think if it was, it would have been denoted. But I could be wrong.
Yeah. Well, somebody's gonna, obviously they're gonna find some stuff in this investigation. I'm just surprised they haven't made more progress on that yet.
Yeah.
Especially after something like that, which again, probably a coincidence. But considering there has been a rash of terrorism in New York and New Jersey lately.
Yeah, that's true. And actually, since you bring that up, I'm surprised that at least the story of the TV station hasn't gotten more legs.
Well, Kurt Schilling, that doofus. Did
Kurt Schilling probably sent the message.
Yeah, right. With
Kurt Schilling's probably the guy dressed in the clown costume.
With zero context or anything, immediately was out there speculating to all of his Twitter followers, a great bunch of deplorables.
What, that was
that
terrorism?
It was a terrorist, or no, Facebook. Excuse me, he's just on Facebook. That it was that it was. He thinks it was terrorism.
You know what though? I mean, to be honest, secretly, to myself, when I hear stuff like that or a mysterious plane crash or something, my first thought is always maybe it's terrorism.
Right.
I mean, I'm not going to go public and say I think it is, but my first thought is like, oh, man, I hope it's not terrorism.
Right. I don't think that necessarily makes you, Islamophobic per se. I just think that it's you have to give it some critical thought, considering there's been a lot of terrorism around the world. And that's leaked into the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, it was there before 9/11. Not very common,
right?
But
despite
it was
what Rudy Giuliani said.
That terrorism never had. It's never an issue before Obama.
You know what? That's just, to me, like he can't be that dense. I'm convinced that he's on the take. He's either getting
massively.
He's either getting a check or there's some sweetheart deal that Trump's working out with them, because I mean he was a national hero after 9/11, and now he's just Donald Trump doesn't pay taxes. He's a hero. Not like these welfare freeloaders. He's a rich tax freeloader, and that makes him a genius.
Yeah, he's been way off the rails. And he gave that really, really frightening speech at the convention.
Yeah,
where he was just emanating pure anger. And fear.
Yeah.
It was like it wasn't real.
It's a shame to see, because he was kind of anointed next in line to be the Republican presidential candidate,
and he was not speaking or saying things like this back in 2008 when he was running.
Right.
And maybe that's what part of his problem is.
Yeah.
Like, he's still so jaded.
That could maybe he's
from
just,
2008.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just pissed off and saying, "Screw the establishment." Anyway, did I cut you off on a point there?
Well, I was just gonna say though, it's. I don't think it necessarily makes you Islamophobic if you think your first thought is terrorism, but you need to be a little bit more responsible, I guess, in putting that out there.
Right.
We need more information to vet.
Right. You keep it to yourself. I mean, because right, you don't tweet out your first instinct. You wait till there's some backup. There's some evidence to back it up if someone calls you out on it.
I mean, it's funny because, like, everybody's first impression when there was this that shooting at that government building in Santa Clara, everybody's first thought was, oh, this is a couple of gun nuts.
Right.
White male gun nuts on the far right who were going to exact revenge on a government building the same way that one wacko attacked that Planned Parenthood building.
Right.
That was... Seriously, on my Twitter feed, everybody was jumping to that conclusion before any information was put out there. And lo and behold, it was a terrorist attack.
Right.
Well, maybe not directly related to terrorism, but it was somebody who sympathized with terrorist groups.
It turned out to be a terrorist gun nut. So, I mean, it's kind of...
Right, exactly.
All right, we got to go. Thanks for listening, Paul. PeopleAMIPodcast.com. Bye.